Episode 1, Part 2, How the Vietnam War Began, The Road to Conflict. The Vietnam War didn't begin overnight. It was the result of decades of political struggles, foreign intervention, and rising tensions between North and South Vietnam. In Part 1, we covered the early influence of colonialism and the growing divide between communism and democracy. But how did this Cold War battleground turn into a full-scale war? By the 1950s, the US was deeply involved in Vietnam's affairs. After the French defeat at Dien Bien Phu in 1954, Vietnam was split in half. Communist North Vietnam, led by Ho Chi Minh, and the US-backed South Vietnam, led by Ngo Dinh Diem. Elections were supposed to reunite the country, but the US feared a communist victory and supported Diem's refusal to hold them. This decision ignited tensions that would soon spiral out of control. Diem's government was corrupt and unpopular, especially among Buddhist communities who faced severe repression under his rule. By the early 1960s, communist rebels in the South, known as the Viet Cong, began an armed resistance. Supported by North Vietnam and supplied through the Ho Chi Minh Trail, they launched guerrilla attacks across the South. The US saw Vietnam as a key battleground in the Cold War. President John F. Kennedy sent military advisors to train South Vietnamese forces. But after Kennedy's assassination in 1963, his successor, Lyndon B. Johnson, took a more aggressive stance. Then came the Gulf of Tonkin incident in 1964, an event that changed everything. After reports that North Vietnamese boats had attacked US destroyers, Johnson used it as justification to push the Gulf of Tonkin resolution through Congress. This gave him unlimited war powers in Vietnam, without a formal declaration of war. From that moment on, Vietnam became America's war. Hundreds of thousands of US troops were sent in, and the conflict escalated beyond what anyone had imagined. In the next episode, we'll cover Operation Rolling Thunder, the massive bombing campaign that was supposed to crush North Vietnam, but instead dragged the US deeper into war. Did the US make a mistake by getting involved? Or was intervention unavoidable? Let me know in the comments. Follow for more episodes on the Vietnam War.